Aloha. You know, when I got the invitation to be able to address you today, I was really excited. I really wanted to be here. And then I found out that I was following Governor John Waihee. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what am I in for? And the reminder and the tribute to those that we lost this past year just reminded me about my kuleana and responsibility as governor of the state of Hawaii, of all of you. I really want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I just wanted to tell one good, short Waihee story. You know, I was first elected in 1986, and my connection to the governor is he was running for governor that year, and he came to my fundraiser, my very first fundraiser in Pro City at Momilani Rec Center. And our claim to fame is we are 3 weeks to the primary election, and we were both losing by 30 points, and nobody thought we had a chance. Both him and I, in Pro City, in my very first fundraiser, 30 points behind with 3 weeks to go. Well, the rest is history, because he became the first Native Hawaiian governor, and I became the first Okinawan governor. So I really do appreciate his support. I am so excited to be here. When I look at the agenda for this conference, when I have the opportunity to listen to the dynamic Kuhio Lewis, who is destined for even bigger things. I really want to thank all of you for being here, for choosing to be here, to talk about consequential issues that are before us as a community, that will shape the future of the state, that will shape the future of island Earth, and most importantly, will shape our community and what we leave to the next generation. Stewardship of our precious natural and cultural resources, economic opportunities, including the changing the narrative of tourism to be regenerative, we all fully support. And we know it's so fundamentally important to where we came from, and most importantly, where we're going. So I really want to thank all of you for choosing to be here. And I really want to thank Kuhio for inviting me to have a few words and a few minutes to talk with all of you. You know, before I get too far, I do want to remind everyone that the COVID-19 pandemic continues, even though we're here, and I'm happy that we're able to meet in person. But I am so proud to be governor of the state of Hawaii, because you know what? When it got tough, there was no doubt in my mind that all of us was willing to put our community first and put aside personal preferences or desires to have the best COVID response in the country. You know, when it counts the most, the people of Hawaii come together. And we know, you know, it's terrific to have a president and a Congress that share our core values and really puts priority for people to deliver support for all of us. You know, I want to thank many people in this room who really stepped forward to the pandemic to help us in whatever needed to be done without any expectation of a return. You know, since March of 2020, more than 117,000 people enrolled in Medicaid, or they would be without health insurance. And you know, we in Hawaii believe that everyone has a right to health insurance so that we can get the health care that we need. You know, we added 32,000 families to SNAP so that they could eat during this pandemic, and we distributed more than $6.6 billion to food to many across our communities. The Child Care Program Office distributed $80 million in child care grants so that we had some place to leave our keiki and when we had to go back to work. You know, we provided 97,000 eligible students with $61 million in food assistance. We provided more than $416 million in rental relief and mortgage relief. And yes, Kuhio Lewis stepped up. The Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement agreed to take the bull by the horn, and as Governor Waihe said, led the country in distributing aid to our communities higher than any place else in the country. And we supported more than 44,000 businesses and organizations with $3.8 billion in Paycheck Protection Program so that we could keep people employed so we wouldn't have more people homeless. It was so astounding. We created programs that we never thought of before, put it all together with all of your help. I know many organizations in this room helped us organize, distribute, support each other during this pandemic in a way that no place else in the country saw. So thank you all for that. I really appreciate it. You know, and when all is said and done, the Commonwealth Fund recently ranked Hawaii the best in the nation on our overall performance across 56 measures of keeping our community healthy and safe. Hawaii had the lowest overall infection rate in the country and the lowest death rate in the country. But the impact goes beyond more than just the pure statistics. You know, more families are able to celebrate milestones like graduations and first birthdays and luau's and weddings together because we made it through the pandemic in the best way possible. But it's not over. So I just want to lecture a little bit before I go on. The pandemic is still with us, and we must be focused on preventing people from becoming severely ill. So if you're not vaccinated, please get vaccinated. If you're not boosted, please get boosted, because being up to date with vaccinations is the best thing we all can do to keep our community healthy and safe. Just a couple things that I want to share with all of you. Hawaii, here in Hawaii, we are on the front lines of the struggle to protect our island Earth. United, we can change the trajectory of Hawaii and the world for generations to come. And we are leading by example because all of us share the same core values that makes Hawaii, Hawaii. Hawaii was the first state in the country to commit to 100% clean renewable energy for electricity. And you know what? Because we led the way, 12 other states have made the same commitment. We have more than doubled the renewable energy that we are generating here in the islands from 20% to 40%. 40% was our 2030 goal. So we've achieved our 2030 goal 8 years ahead of schedule because of all of you have embraced the responsibility and taken action. Hawaii has the most rooftop solar in the country per capita, and we have more rooftop solar on the grid than any single oil-fueled generation plant in the state. And we are retiring Hawaii's last coal plant, getting rid of the worst fossil fuel on the planet in order to save our community and keep everybody safe, healthy and safe. I did want to talk a little bit about some things that I know are important to many of you. I know Kuhio talked about stepping up and taking the lead. I really felt that it was my responsibility to bring state government along in recognizing long-standing issues in the Native Hawaiian community. Something as simple as water, right? One of our priorities has been ending the plantation-era water diversions and restoring water rights to kalo farmers and other traditional and customary practices, right? It's basic. It's in our Constitution. And I do believe, as your governor and governor of the state of Hawaii, it's my responsibility to deliver on that right. The Commission on Water Resource Management completed a historic mediated settlement in the West Kauai Waimea River dispute. Rather than litigating for decades, as we know we've done in East Maui, we arrived at a mediated settlement that immediately restored water, continuous flow to Waimea River, as well as providing the opportunity for renewable energy projects, for diversified agriculture, and most importantly, water for Hawaiian homesteads on the west side of Kauai. Right? And we all know in the historic Nawai Eha case in East Maui, the Commission issued the most comprehensive recognition of Native Hawaiian cultural rights, of committing to kalo farming in the traditional way, and established minimum stream flow standards that assures us that traditional practices will happen in East Maui. And most importantly, it restored hundreds of millions of gallons of water to those streams each and every day. You know, I'm really excited because the Commission has used the lessons learned in East Maui and West Kauai to really move forward aggressively. We have now established minimum in-stream flow standards in 60 streams across all the islands. We just issued a decision on Molokai to restore water to vital streams on Molokai, and we're committed to recognizing what our Constitution requires. Traditional and customary practices of Hawaiians should have a priority in this state that we all call Hawaii. I did want to add a few things about this past session. The work continues. We passed House Bill 1768, now Act 27, which contributes to the goals of protecting Native Hawaiian rights to cultivate kalo in the traditional and customary manner. This measure recognizes and protects kuleana rights for use, access, delivery, and quality of water that is so essential to be successful. You know, kalo cultivation in Hawaii is a vital cultural practice that connects people with place and honors the relationship that Native Hawaiians have with kalo. And it feeds families in our community, which is what gets me also excited. You know, we have also worked very hard to recognize traditional fish ponds, because we know, all of us know, right, more than 1,000 years ago, the people of the First Nations of Hawaii had thriving fish ponds to be self-sufficient. It's amazing, right? We're all 1,000 years late because Hawaii was doing it 1,000 years ago. But I do know that local production and we can improve our resilience by committing to restore traditional fish ponds all around the state. You know, and I was invited and had the privilege of working alongside some of you here in the room at Heia and learned firsthand as we passed hand-to-hand rocks to be able to restore that outer wall in Heia. It's hard work. But you know, when everybody comes together, it becomes a little easier. The Ho'ala Local Ia program has offered a streamlined permitting process to allow community groups to repair and restore local Ia, ancient Hawaiian fish ponds, since January 2015. The Department of Land and Natural Resources has been helping many of you all across the state in this important work. You know, from the Big Island to Kauai, we have more than 20 projects all across the state committed to restoring the traditional practices that our ancestors provided to ensure that we could feed our communities without devastating the environment. So we are committed to continue to learn the best practices of Native Hawaiians, to update it to today so that we can feed everyone in our community. I also had advocated, because we do know, as we manage the largest marine conservation area on the planet, Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument, that it was really important to hear the Hawaiian voice. I was successful in encouraging and cajoling and threatening the federal government that we need OHA to be a co-manager of Papahanaumokuakea so that we can be certain that we have Hawaiians at the table as we manage this largest marine monument on the planet for the people of Hawaii and the people in the world. I just wanted to close with one further thought about housing and the Hawaiian Homestead Program. I know that you've heard, and I really do want to thank Kuhio and the Council for the Advancement of Native Hawaiians for their commitment during this past session. It was an epic, historic session, even bigger than when Governor Waihee was governor. And he had some epic sessions. But you know, we committed more than $1 billion, $1 billion to address past wrongs and try our best to fulfill our commitments to Native Hawaiians here in the community. $600 million of that is going to the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, and we are committed to advance as many projects as possible. You know, William Isla had said that instead of us taking 10 or 15 years to really make progress, we're gonna compress all of those projects into 3 to 5 years. So, I just want you to know that we can't do it by ourselves. And so if you are in that development sphere, we are looking for a few great men and women to join the department to help us get that $600 million out into the community. And I just wanted to say that as we saw the economy improve, I was committed to settling the Kalima case that for too long has divided our community. You know, our Department of Hawaiian Homelands worked so hard to deliver homesteads to Native Hawaiian beneficiaries. And we recognize that we haven't been able to do it as quickly as we would like. That $328 million settlement means that we can stop the fighting amongst ourselves and really focus on the future of the Hawaiian Homesteads Program. So I am glad that that two-decade lawsuit is now settled, and we can go forward hand in hand, beneficiaries and the Department of Hawaiian Homesteads, to really deliver the opportunities that we all want to see. Native Hawaiians in touch with their land, whether it be farming or ranching or subsistence living, committing to our community in the best way possible. So I am excited about that opportunity. So I just really want to close by saying a few things. You know, in reflecting on my years in office, I'm most proud to be governor of the state of Hawaii because of all of you. You know, in Hawaii, we get it. You know, Governor Waihee says, "Where's home?" My grandparents came to Hawaii from Okinawa more than 100 years ago. And if you ask me where's home, home is Hawaii. You know, Gov, you're right. You know, no place else in the country does that happen. And I have been committed to recognizing the past wrongs, but most importantly, as governor of the state of Hawaii, do everything I can in my power to move and advance the Native Hawaiian obligations that we have, and most importantly, assuring that Native Hawaiians have a place in the table, that they can help us determine the future of regenerative tourism, that they can have a big say in what Hawaii looks like and the Hawaii that we leave to our children and our children's children. So thank you so much for choosing to be here at this time in this conference. It is an historic event, and I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for putting our community first, for being invested, for wanting to make a difference, and most importantly, for leaving the Hawaii that we want to our children and our children's children. Aloha and mahalo.
Wow. Mahalo, Governor Ige.